Hello everybody, I'm Ravindra Kumar. Today we will be exploring AWS Direct Connect service, together also pronounced as DX. We will delve into several scenarios to enhance our understanding. This service is a critical offering from AWS, particularly for enterprise customers who need to transfer large amount of data via the cloud, implement disaster recovery strategies, or set up multi-cloud environment. So let's get ready and start our learning journey. Total 33 AWS region and 105 availability zones as of December 23. Over 100 plus AWS Direct Connect location worldwide. These numbers are keep increasing. AWS Direct Connect is globally accessible, offering a vast network of facilities worldwide from US, Canada, Europe, China, and Asia. These direct connect sites enable the establishment of private high bandwidth connection to any AWS region. For example, if your data center is located in Singapore and you require connectivity to operation in Malaysia, you can create a private link through the nearest AWS Direct Connect facility. This link will seamlessly integrate with the AWS regional network, providing the most efficient routing for superior latency. So the next main question is how customer connect to AWS globally. Customer can connect to AWS global network through various methods, each offering different level of integration, security, performances. Here we I am explaining how each connection method works. Internet. The simplest way to connect to AWS service is over public internet. This method allows you to access AWS resources by using public IP address or public endpoints provided by AWS. While it is the most straightforward approach, it is also the least secure due to the inherent vulnerability of internet. It is suitable for non-sensitive workload or for initial development and testing phases. Second is IPsec VPN. For more secure connectivity, customer can establish an IPsec VPN connection. This involves setting up an encrypted tunnel between your on-premises network and your Amazon Virtual Private Cloud. The encryption and integrity of data in transit ensured by the IPsec protocol, providing a high level of security compared to open internet. This method is often used for workload that require secure communication but do not justify the cost of dedicated physical connection. Next is Direct Connect. AWS Direct Connect provides a private dedicated network connection between your on-premises infrastructure and AWS. This bypasses the public internet entirely, offering a more reliable and consistent network experience with potentially lower latencies. Direct Connect is suitable for high throughput workloads such as large dataset migration or for applications that requires a stable and secure connection to AWS. It is also beneficial for customers with strict regulatory or compliance requirements that mandate private connectivity. So what is AWS Direct Connect? So AWS Direct Connect link your internal network to an AWS Direct Connect locations over a standard Ethernet fiber optics cable. One end of the cable is connected to your router, the other to your AWS Direct Connect router. AWS Direct Connect Cloud service is the shortest path to your AWS resource. While in transit, your network traffic remains on the AWS global network and never touches the public internet. This reduces the chance of hitting bottleneck or unexpected increase in latency. So the fact is, why customer need direct connect? Connecting on-premises data center to cloud privately, securely, reliably, and scalable to enable migration of application workload. Transferring large scale data to and from the cloud for the purpose of archival, disaster recovery, replication, and media distribution. It scales up to 400 Gbps up to certain locations. Lower cost for private global connects, pay-as-you-go connectivity, free ingress. It supports SLA of 99.99% uptime, extensive coverage, 100 plus location worldwide in 30 plus countries. So what are the different component of direct connect? So in a direct connect architecture, you have certain components. First component is corporate data center. So I will explain what is corporate data center. Then you have a AWS Direct Connect locations, right? And then on the left hand side, you have a AWS Global Network. So corporate data center is basically the place where your company server and storage networking equipments are placed and running in a best possible way, right? This location can be in your own premises or it can be a colo location. The number two is basically direct connect location. So this direct connect location is provided by direct connect partner. So if you go to the AWS website, it will show you who are the direct connect location partner. So this partner provides basically one end is AWS direct connect router and the other is basically customer router or a partner router. So there is a connectivity. One connectivity is a last mile connectivity. So last mile connectivity is between your data center and your router which is sitting in a AWS Direct Connect location. The number two connectivity is basically the AWS Direct Connect which is sits inside a same location. So your router and the AWS router is connected via cross connect, and then there is an option of backbone network. So this AWS router, direct connect router, is connected with AWS backbone network, which provides a privately secure reliable connection. Then there is a roles and responsibility. Who is manage the connection? So first is last mile connection. Last mile connection is managed by customer or the local ISPs. Then second, your router, customer router or a partner router at AWS Direct Connect location. It is managed by either partner or it is managed by either customer. Then there is a Direct Connect location router, AWS router, which is managed by basically AWS Direct Connect provider. Third option is fourth is managed by AWS, which is a backbone network. So that's how the major component of AWS Direct Connect work in tandem, right? So let me explain a bit more on last mile. Last mile is the internet industry refers to final leg of telecommunication network that delivers telecommunication services to retail and end users. Like if you see, if it talks about Malaysia as a location, so Malaysia has a couple of location. One of the location is AIM-Scale. So AIM-Scale to your data, your corporate data center, there are certain local providers who basically provide last mile connectivity. So that is one of the example. Specifically in your region, you will have a main data center, and up to your corporate data center, there must be a telco provider ISP who basically provide the fiber to connect to endpoints. So there is a two kind of connection with AWS Direct Connect location. One is the dedicated connection and other is the hosted connection. So in this slide I will be covering dedicated connection. So dedicated connection is between your data center and the AWS Direct Connect location. So these two locations are connected via a dedicated pipe which provide the speed of 1 Gbps up to the 400 Gbps. Your corporate data center will be corporate data center router will be connected to your router which is placed at AWS Direct Connect location. Then step number 2, your router which is at the AWS Direct Connect location will be connecting to AWS Direct Connect router, right, which is further will be connecting to AWS Global Network, which is a privately secure network. The benefit of this, this connection is private, secure, which compliant to some of the regulatory requirement from for some of the regulatory body in the countries. So dedicated connection, a physical connection associated with single customer. So mind you, this is dedicatedly for a single customer. It is not shared. So that's why it is called as a dedicated connection. Customer can request dedicated connection through AWS Direct Connect console, and once your request approved, the solution or this link can serve from 1 Gbps speed up to 400 Gbps for certain location. So once this link set up, you can access AWS private services, AWS public services and private services on a dedicated private network. So the other option of connectivity is hosted connection, which is slightly different from dedicated connection. So AWS Direct Connect hosted connection is a type of network that allows you to access AWS network infrastructure. There are some of the key points about this hosted connection. First, there is a reduce in the capacity of throughput, like our dedicated connection last time. The dedicated connection, as I explained, can go up to 400 Gbps, but hosted connection go from 550 Mbps to 25 Gbps. The one from the is the same on the AWS backbone endpoint as well. Speed option is limited compared to the dedicated connection. The only benefit you have, this router is provided by partner instead of customer, right? So because some customer would not like to spend full blown up to which as per their capacity or business economics, so they leverage partner resources, and partner help them to provision those AWS direct connect ports, and they set up the connectivity with AWS global network. So connectivity remains the same, right? It's just that there is a throughput capacity. Instead of up to 400 Gbps, it is up to 25 Gbps. Once this capacity is connected, the the mode of connectivity and the communication will remains the same. You can access public network, public AWS public endpoint, and AWS private endpoint in a secure, reliable way, right? So that is about hosted connection. So the fun fact is, the last mile physical connection will remains the same, which is provided by local provider, ISP provider, from your data center to the partner router. Is just that this partner router is managed and owned by the partner. It could be possible they are utilizing this port for this router and multiple port for a multiple customer. So it is a kind of shared device. Let's talk about logical connection, virtual interfaces. So currently AWS support three kind of virtual interface. One is public interface, private interface, and transit interface. So each interface has a different purpose, right? Public interface allow access to public AWS services such as Amazon S3, DynamoDB, SQS over public IP address. Private wave allow access to your private virtual VPCs, like EC2 instances and databases over private connection or private IP connection. Then there is a transit wave. So transit wave allow access to one or more Amazon VPC transit gateway associated with the direct connect gateway. Here is the fun fact. There are four transit with over one single dedicated direct connection is allowed, and on the hosted connection there is a 1:1 ratio. So that is the current limitation on the hosted connections. So let's talk about VLAN tagging. So if you see, our design remains the same. In moment back we have spoken about public WIF, private WIF, and the transit WIF. If you see in this diagram, the only difference is VLAN IDs. So each WIF and the transit WIF have a VLAN ID tagging. So these tag must remains the same at your corporate router level. If you want that these two router or the services able to talk to each other, then those VLAN IDs remains the same. So that is one important tag, important point about the VLAN we are defining at each layer, right? So in a AWS Direct Connect line, VLAN tagging is a crucial part of configuration process. There are some very key points. Each virtual interface on a given connection requires a unique VLAN tag. VLAN ID is installed at a database on the customer gateway devices. Please note that you cannot modify VLAN information to create a new WIF from AWS Management Console. That part assign a VLAN on a creation on each hosted connection. So there are some facts. A unique VLAN tag that's not already in use on your connection. The value must be in between 1 and 4094. and must comply with the Ethernet 802.1q standard. This tag is required for any traffic traversing the AWS Direct Connect connection. If you have a hosted connection, your AWS Direct Connect partner provides this value. You cannot modify the value after you have created the virtual interface. So those are the key information when you set up the VLAN tagging. So let's talk about public WIF. AWS public WIF are designed to access AWS public services, right? Public network services like Amazon, DB, S3, and SQS, right? Any public IP assigned to EC2 instances will be accessed via public interface, similar to either it's a one region or it is a another region, right? So there are some fun fact about AWS public WIF. First is that AWS does not re-advertise customer prefixes received over public WIF to another customer. So that's how they're keeping isolated, right? It is recommended to use a firewall filter to control traffic based on source destination addresses. So there is a customer responsibility as well. It is always recommended to use a firewall at the router level or at the point where these connections are terminating. So let's talk bit deeper about private WIF. So what are the private WIF? We have already explained, right? Why, at what circumstances it used. As I explained earlier in a previous uh, slide, that private WIF is used to access VPC resources, right, on a private channel or on a private IP addresses. As a EC2 instances databases which is running inside your private subnet or private network. So there are few fun facts about it. You should use private WIF to access on Amazon VPC. Each private WIF establishes separate border gateway protocol, which can be used in active standby or active design, or used for a private network segment. To create a private WIF, you need to have a direct connect circuit that you want to attach to your VPC. So that's the fun fact, right? The connectivity is established through a virtual interface, which is a physical connection through the AWS network to customer network via virtual private gateways. So let's talk about private WIF with Direct Connect Gateway. Direct Connect Gateway is a service that allows AWS Direct Connect user to connect multiple VPC in a same or a different AWS region to their Direct Connect connection. As we can see in the diagram, you have Direct Connect Gateway which is connected via private WIF to a multiple VPCs which sits inside multiple region. So that is the main key feature of using Direct Connect Gateway with a private WIF. So Direct Connect Gateway, this is a global available resource that you create in specific AWS region. It provides a grouping of virtual private gateways and transit gateways that belongs to your account. You associate a direct connect gateway with the virtual private gateway for a VPC. Then you create a private virtual interface for your AWS direct connect connection to the direct connect gateway. Right. Please note that virtual private gateway that you associate with a direct connect gateway must be attached to a VPC. A virtual private gateway association proposal expires 7 days after it created. An accepted virtual private gateway proposal or a deleted virtual private gateway proposal remains visible for 3 days. So that's the fun fact. AWS Direct Connect Gateway can be associated with up to 20 Amazon Virtual Private Clouds or VPCs. So let's talk about Transit WIF with Direct Connect Gateway. AWS Direct Connect Gateway is a service that allows AWS Direct Connect user to connect to multiple VPC in the same or a different AWS region to their Direct Connect location. So here is the diagram we are talking about. It is same, remains the same. You have your corporate data centers, and basically this is the connectivity in your corporate data center. You have AWS direct connect location, then you have a AWS direct connect network. So in this diagram, how they are connecting. So this time we have a backbone connection, the connection, cross connection, and the last mile connection. So here we are talking about how AWS Direct Connect location is connecting to AWS Global Network. So this time we are saying this is connecting via AWS Direct Connect Gateway alongside the transit wave. So if you have transit wave connecting with Direct Connect Gateway, it further enhance the connectivity options. Like you can see, there are two regions in this diagram. One region, region 1, region 2. Each region has their own set of connectivity, like multiple VPCs. These multiple VPCs are connected to transit gateway, and they further connected to this AWS direct connect location via direct connect gateway. Now the additional option is region 2. So region 2 also, it is connecting to direct connect location via direct connect gateway. So now we can safely say, when you have a direct connect gateway using transit wave, it further enhance and give you the option you can connect to multiple region, right? So that is the extensibility or flexibility it gives you while you are connecting with the multiple region via a single transit wave. So single transit wave, obviously, or we can say transit wave, should be used to access one or more VPC. So when you want to access one or more VPC, obviously you use this combination of direct connect gateway with the transit wave. The transit gateway is connecting to direct connect link via using a transit wave and direct connect gateway. You can use transit wave with any AWS direct connect hosted or a dedicated connection of any speed. So that is a big flexibility when you're using direct connect gateway with a transit wave. With the transit wave, you can connect multiple AWS VPC. So as I described in this diagram as well, you can associate up to 3 transit gateway in any AWS region when you use transit wave to connect to a transit gateway. Please note that it's possible to have both private and transit wave on a same direct connect connection, provided it is dedicated connection, not hosted connection. So that flexibility you can get only when you are using a dedicated connection. However, this design will not work if direct connect gateway is involved, since you can use only have either virtual gateway or a transit gateway attached to DX gateway, but not. So that is a kind of limitation you have here. So this is the fun fact. With the new limit, you can now create up to 4 transit virtual interfaces per AWS Direct Connect dedicated connection. So just remember this condition is applicable only for Direct Connect dedicated connection. The other is transit gateway that you associated with Direct Connect gateway must be attached to a VPC. So there must be a connection. Then only this solution works. So as we have been keep talking about AWS Direct Connect location, and we discuss about your dedicated connection and hosted connection. So predominantly there are few differences, right? And there are few use cases to satisfy before decide either you would like to go for a dedicated connection or hosted connection, because there is a implication of cost. Dedicated connections are generally expensive because that is used to meet your large scale data transfer, primary and disaster recovery use cases, they compared to hosted connection, which is generally customer use for less data transfer and less use case to minimum number of use case to satisfy. So physical connection dedicated to a single customer, and hosted connection, the particular router can be used or case can be used to serve multiple customer by the partner. Your dedicated connection speed can go up to 400 Gbps, as it is available for certain region and certain AWS direct connect location worldwide. Your hosted connection can go up to 25 Gbps on a certain locations. The connectivity remains the same, both AWS Direct Connect cage and your customer slash partner cage will be connected via cross connect, and customer partner is the one who's responsible for the charges. AWS will not pay for this, right? And the other important part is last mile. Last mile is owned, right, and managed by service provider, partner, or reseller. The other thing is, as I said initially, it is very important to strategize which connection you would like to go for, either a direct connect or a a hosted connection, because these connection has a cost implication. As I am repeating again, dedicated connection is slightly expensive than hosted connection, because hosted connection is shared among the multiple customer. So cost per customer is lesser, but it will not gives you the all benefit what you can get from the dedicated connection. So thanks for watching my video, right? I will be keep bringing those videos, right? So you guys can improve your knowledge and understanding, and please give feedback on my videos as well. If you like my video, please subscribe my YouTube channel. It keeps motivating me. Thank you. Have a good day ahead. Thank you.